Oh, thank you so much, Susan. That was so beautiful, and just what a wonderful way to come into Shabbat, this very beautiful service where we are going to be celebrating Pride and so many wonderful artists and composers, and I think even many people that you have known.
Yes, and all the excitement over getting my camera cleaned up. I forgot to say that I was dedicating everything I played tonight to many friends and colleagues that I lost, and also to more and much more who have survived and are living long, wonderful lives. And we're so grateful to have them with us. Thank you.
L'chaim. So we come into Shabbat and we sing Yedid Nefesh, dear one of my soul, and especially on the Shabbat when we are celebrating that everyone can have a dear one of their soul, and it doesn't matter the gender or the person, but the importance is love. ידיד נפש אב הרחמן, ידיד נפש אב הרחמן, משוך עבדך אל רצונך, משוך עבדך, ילה לה 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 ארץ עונך, ירוץ עבדך כמו אייל, ישתחווה ילה לה ילה לה 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 אל מול הדרך. ירוב לו ידידותך, מנופת סוף ילי ילה לי וכל טעם. ידיד נפש אב הרחמן, ידיד נפש אב הרחמן, משוך עבדך אל רצונך, ילי משוך עבדך, ילי אל רצונך.
Shabbat Shalom. We come together this Shabbat, each bringing to this sanctuary a private world of hopes, of fears, of dreams. Some are burdened by anxieties and cares that all but crash our faith in the future. Others have hearts filled with happiness, grateful for the joys of the past week, yet aware that even the most fortunate are vulnerable before the mystery of tomorrow. Every life is a unique blending of joy and sorrow, of fulfillment and frustration. Beneath our uniqueness, we are all bound together by our common humanity. All of us most deeply yearn for the blessings of freedom and peace. Each of us seeks the personal liberation of a mind that is not enslaved to conventional wisdom, a heart that is able to love without fear, a spirit that cries yes to the universe. Each of us strives too for the inner peace that comes with finding a harmony between our aspirations and our abilities. This is a Shabbat peace to which we aspire. From the prayer book Kol HaNeshama. Tonight we celebrate Shabbat as we do each week, looking for that peace and community that we all so very much need. And tonight we celebrate pride, the pride we have in each individual being who they are, in loving who they love, in celebrating families that come in all different shapes and sizes, but all of them built around love and caring. Tonight, we celebrate Pride. This evening's service will be led by members of our Shalom Keshet team. Shalom Keshet is our new LGBTQ team that was created in the last year to help our synagogue run programs like this and to help find new opportunities to make our synagogue and our world grow and learn better and better. And we are grateful to all the members of the team who will be sharing readings and poems that they either found or wrote themselves with all of our community. We're also excited to have Dubs Weinblatt from Keshet speak to us this evening later in our service. This week has seen some wonderful possibilities as on Thursday morning, celebrating at a Rosh Chodesh, a new month morning service, Damian Rosen celebrated his bar mitzvah. And so we celebrate Damian and his parents, Seiko and Alexis, as they lead the Shabbat candles from their home in honor of Damian's wonderful bar mitzvah yesterday morning.
Technical issues.
It will be
It is not the first time we have had matches issues in the last year.
Oh my
All right,
God.
you know what? I'm
Do we
gonna,
have much? Oh, no.
Ah,
the last one too.
Okay,
Okay.
say,
Good.
say no. Say no. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
amen.
And now we continue with the Kiddush, which Damian will lead for us.
La, la, la.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
And
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu
Shabbat Kasha.
V'ratzavanu v'shabbat
V'ratzavanu b'shavat kadsho b'hava l'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim ki banu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. So here is another melody for Shabbat, taken from the Song of Songs that we have sung a few times, and I invite you all to join in on the parts that you may know. Yonati b'chagvei hasela, O my dove in the crevice of the rock.
we take some time to say hello and get to know each other at one of our breakout rooms. It works a little better in person when you can just pick who you walk up, talk to, and then move on. But before we get to our in-person services resuming in July, we're so grateful to have our breakout rooms to do it in. So we're going to head into breakout rooms, meet someone new, or say hello to someone you already know. Hello to all our friends on YouTube. We're glad to have you joining us tonight, and we look forward to hopefully seeing many of you in person soon.
Bye, it is.
Hello, Karen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's good to hear you, and I'll be glad to have you in the sanctuary again like you were the other week come July.
That'll be great.
We'll be highlighting some of our members of our Shalom Keshet team to share some of their readings throughout the service, starting with Harry Cooperman.
Shabbat Shalom. I'll be reading a poem I wrote called Self-Love for Shabbat. I was born to love the spring and to love the summer, to love the changing of the seasons, to love the sky and to love the earth, to love the people in it. I was born to love our God and to love our Jewish people. I was born of joy and love, but not everyone can understand that. As a child, I didn't know that my love could inspire hate. As a teenager, I didn't know how to accept my love for other men. As an adult, I do not care what you think about my love. I love who I love because love is a blessing, and my love is my choice. I was born to love, and now I choose to love myself.
Thank you, Harry. Next up is Bertie Traeger.
This is an excerpt. One moment. This is an excerpt from the song Everything Possible by Fred Small. As the moon sets its sails to carry you to sleep, over the midnight sea, I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads. And I know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Bertie.
So another song for Shabbat, seeing Shabbat as a bride. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Let us go and welcome Shabbat, our beloved. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishmianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad v'shemo tiferet v'litila Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maseh b'machshava tchila Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam besimcha uv'tola toch emunei am segula boi chala Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We rise in body or in spirit for our call to worship the Baruch Hu.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamivorach. Baruch Adonai hamivorach לעולם ועד. ברוך אדוני המבורך, לעולם ועד.
Our next reader is the co-chair of our Shalom Keshet team, Lisa Zayas.
A journey to acceptance is not a journey to accept acceptance from others. No, it is a journey of self-actualization, a journey to learn vocabulary that may not have been part of our lived experience, a journey to understand that normal is defined by society and can be redefined as swiftly as the tides change, a journey to realize that sometimes self-preservation requires you to walk away from relationships and situations that are causing more harm than good. A journey to understand that our families are not always formed by blood, but instead by love, devotion, trust, and respect. And that when we intentionally form our families, that journey reminds us that acceptance from others is not needed to accept our authentic selves, because it is more important for our children to see us live a life filled with pride and to know that our families matter. That journey is what pushes us to affirm who we are when our children out us to the world time and time again. A journey to remember that before the strength and courage of people like Marsha P. Johnson, we would not have many of the civil liberties we enjoy today. Our journeys are unique, and it is in the realization that acceptance from others doesn't matter that we are finally free.
Thank you, Lisa. Our next reader is Sue Eisman.
Hi, my readings are from Mishkan Ga'ava, Where Pride Dwells, which is a book that has Jewish liturgy specifically for LGBTQ services and events. And this is for my child, my children, and their friends who have taught me about love and acceptance beyond what I ever could have imagined when I was younger. You have permission to laugh until you cannot speak and to speak until you cannot catch your breath. You have permission to fall in love with yourself or to not know which self you really are today. You have permission to be curious, confused, clueless, and aimless. Yes, you have permission. The rainbow spirit inside of you has been lighting up the world ever since the day you were born. And you, in all your radiance, are worth being seen however you want to be.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the
Guess we're pausing for station identification.
let that lonely feeling wash away? Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you're strong enough to stand, you can reach out. place where we don't have to feel alone. And every time that you call out, you're a little less alone. If you only say the word from across the sun, your voice is heard. Someone will come running. Take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need your friends to carry you, and when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and then rise again. If you try then look around, you will be found.
We join together in the watchwords of our faith, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
If you're standing, please be seated. And now to lead us in the Via Hafta is our bar mitzvah, Damian Rosen.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלצך בדרך ובשפך וקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Thank you, Damian, and Mazel Tov to you and your parents on your wonderful bar mitzvah yesterday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next reader is Michelle Blayfeder, co-chair of our Shalom Keshet team.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to be reading a poem called A Gift from God by John P. Reed. Love can't be described. It has no shape, it has no form. Love is not an object. Love does not conform. Love enters our lives the moment we are born. From the cradle to the grave, love's in everyone. Love burns like a candle that sometimes flickers but never dies. Love may be invisible, although it's right before your eyes. Love can leave you empty. Love can make you whole. Love can make or break you. Love is in your soul. Love is in your heart. Love is in your mind. Love doesn't discriminate. Love is always blind. Love is universal. It encompasses the globe. No matter where you are, love has a language all its own. Love is all around you. There's plenty of love to spare. You cannot see or touch it, but love is everywhere. Love's the greatest power, and yet it is so small. Love's a gift from God to be shared amongst us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
And we continue with our Song of Miracles, Michamocha. Yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye bye yabba bye bye bye. Micha mocha bailim Adonai, Micha mocha nedar bakodesh, noratilot, o sefele, o sefele. Malchut karav alecha, pokayam lifnei Moshe. Malchut karav alecha, pokayam lifnei Moshe. Zezeli, anu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch, leolam, leolam vaed. Yabba bye 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 bye, yabba bye bye bye. Yabba bye 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 bye, yabba bye bye bye. Yabba bye 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 bye, yabba bye bye bye. Yabba bye bye, yabba bye bye bye. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Next reader is Jenny Byers.
Hello. Tonight I'll be reading a little mashup of poems by Connie Bedera. Pick one, they say. They wonder if I like men or women. I am a confusion, something they can't put in a box. I am either not gay enough for the gay community, or I am not straight enough for anyone else. I think they've forgotten that love can't fit in a box, nor does it discriminate. The most beautiful and liberating love story I have ever seen and felt, it was when I finally learned to love myself. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Jenny. Our next reading It was written by Temple member Sophie Cleary and will be read by Michelle Blayfetter.
Alrighty, hi everybody. I will be reading 2 paragraphs on Sophie Cleary's behalf. Okay, the first paragraph goes, and it's about being an ally. So to really work toward acceptance, change, and unconditional support, you need to embrace all aspects of the queer community. You can't ask queer people to tone down their gender expression. You can't tell queer youth it's just a phase or deny who they are because you think they are too young. You can't purse your lips at the parts that make you uncomfortable or that go against your beliefs, it says in quotes, whether they are based on gender stereotypes, religion, or your misunderstanding of science. And the last paragraph, Sophie wrote herself, so this is from her perspective. Growing up as a part of Generation Z, I've witnessed the huge fight and push in the LGBTQ+ community. Something pretty incredible is that it has become normal when introducing yourself to state your pronouns. For example, my name is Sophie, this is Sophie, and I use she, her pronouns. We don't just assume anymore that everyone around us is cisgender and straight. We have a level of immediate acceptance that should be shared among everyone. Everyone is who they are, and you should embrace them no matter what. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you to Sophie. We continue now with our tefillah, and we invite you to rise in body or in spirit.
Open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim וכל הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשלי עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
And in the middle of that page, you are holy, Your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Please be seated. Our next reader is Marjorie Blackman.
The Transgender Suicides, written by Graf, 1980. You will never know the peace of acceptance once you are finished and put in the earth. Life was harsher than dirt. Parents made you feel worthless because you wanted to wear a short dress, because you felt different, cut off, disowned, disavowed. Our friends after another disappear, and no one hears the sobs. No one feels the salty tears. No one holds your hands or offers you a hug. You are ... by those who demand you conform, where there is no warmth. The clock cuts you bitterly, condemning you to be lonely. And I cry all the more, knowing you won't be the only one. Not the only daughter wanting to be a son, not the only male that wants to be female, not the only soft face hardened or hard face softened till the sorrow overflows, till everyone you know closes the door and you disappear forevermore.
Thank you, Marjorie.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Adon Melech Adon Lecha Shalom. Adon Melech Adon, Lecha Shalom, Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov Be'elecha et Amcha Yisrael, b'chol leit ub'chol shah, b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom.
We continue with our own private prayers.
Yehu v'ratzon imrefi, v'gion libi lefanecha. Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi Vegali, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi Vegali. I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. Don't charge yourself in regret. Just love yourself and you're set. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. Oh, there ain't no other way. I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Oh, there ain't no other way. Baby, I was born this way. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret. Just love yourself and you're set. You're on the right track. Baby, you were born this way.
As we turn to our prayer of healing, we begin with this prayer. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, bless and heal all who are ill and all who are touched by AIDS, cancer, and all life-threatening illness. Grant insight to those who bring healing, love and strength to us and all who love them. God, let your spirit rest upon all who are ill and comfort them. May they and we know a time of complete healing, a healing of body and a healing of spirit, speedily and soon. And let us say, Amen. As we share some names from our temple community, we invite you to fill our chat with the names of people you're thinking of who need strength and caring, people near and far who need our love, who need our compassion, and need our help on guiding their path to healing. As a temple community, we're especially thinking of our members, Elaine Wall, Helen Schloss, Rochelle Weinberg, Ronnie Heller, Jamie Stern, Leah Stern, Joan Lipton, Arlene Green, Sadie Rosenkrantz, Elise Leibowitz, Roberta Traeger, Jody Ann Herman, and we're thinking of Judith Rubin. We add to those names that are in our chat and in our heart as we turn to this words from our Torah, this prayer of healing.
And Moses cried, "Heal Miriam, heal Miriam, this I pray." And Moses cried, "Heal Miriam, heal Miriam, this I pray." Ella Rifanala, Ella Rifanala, Ella Rifanala, Ella Rifanala.
Our speaker tonight is Dubs Weinblatt. Dubs brings their flair for performance, partnerships, and engagement to their role as Keshet's Associate Director of Education and Training for Metro New York, where they work to better integrate LGBTQ inclusive policy, programming, culture, and leadership in Jewish institutions. Dubs sent me, as no surprise, a wonderful list of accomplishments that they have done in their life, but I want to go off text and talk about a different one. It was about 3 years ago, we as a synagogue were recognizing that we had several transgender youth in our religious school, and we weren't quite sure how to make that the best experience for those students, for their families, for their classmates, for their teachers, for the temple as a whole. And so we turned to Keshet, a Jewish organization that focuses on LGBTQ issues that Cantor Jacobson, Faye Gilman, and I had been working with for several years in training. And they recommended that Dubs come out and be a speaker. And so we set up a program for our religious school, our 6th and 7th graders, and we set up a program for parents and other interested adults. And it was a transformative day at Temple. The students themselves felt better. In fact, the 6th grade student went back to their classroom and said that she had an announcement that as you knew her as a he, him pronouns, you should now know as she, her pronouns. And the entire class understood now exactly what that meant and burst into applause. And it was one of the most moving moments in my career to see the support and love of these 6th graders giving to their classmate who's gone on to have a beautiful bat mitzvah in her life. We are so grateful to Dubs for being our guide at that key moment in our temple history that could have created so many unpleasantness for kids and their parents and the families, but instead is a source of strength and pride for all of us. And so we are honored to have Dubs back and be our speaker this evening. And so we welcome Dubs Weinblatt.
Wow, thank you so much for that introduction. I wasn't expecting that. Hi everyone, Shabbat Shalom. I have actually cried multiple times throughout this service. Wasn't expecting that either. Just feeling so moved and so touched by all of these beautiful pieces of Torah that you all are sharing about identity and acceptance and allyship. And if you would have told Dubs when they were 10 years old or 12, even 20 years old, I wouldn't have believed you that a synagogue would be talking about how wonderful it is to be LGBTQ, and feeling that acceptance and love is just filling my heart and my soul. So thank you so much for that. And so I'm here tonight to share my story, my journey. I am a transgender, genderqueer Jew. Grew up in Columbus, Ohio. I'll get to that in a second. And really the story is to talk about my journey of self-acceptance and what that looked like. And I was trying to pull some notes from some of the readings that you all did throughout to connect it to the story, because what I think is so beautiful about the human experience, that regardless of the identities that we hold, we are all connected in these really common, really powerful moments of wanting to feel accepted and wanting to feel like we belong. So I'm now going to share my screen, hopefully seamlessly. You'd think after a year and a half on Zoom, I could do it. All right, can you all see baby Dubs? Okay. So I grew up in Columbus, Ohio in the mid-'80s. And when I was born, the doctor said, it's a girl. So it told my parents and it told my teachers and my community members, okay, so this kid is a girl. So we know how to talk about them and what words to use to describe their existence, like daughter and sister. But from a really, really young age, those words never quite felt like they were just talking about me. They never felt like they were describing me and my experience. But I didn't have the language or the understanding to know why it felt that way. And there also really wasn't a lot of representation or visibility into trans and non-binary identities. And on the other hand, I also, when I would look at families in my community, I would always see a mom and a dad. And I never saw any kind of diverse family structure. And so I knew for me that I wanted my family to look different, but I didn't have any kind of roadmap or representation to show me that. And so if you could imagine how isolating that feeling, how isolating that can feel, of like really feeling certain about certain parts of your identity, but not seeing anyone else in the world who's like you. And so I really felt alone. I also grew up in a 2.44 mile city that had 3 synagogues in it. There were so many Jews in this very small town that I grew up in. And so I was inundated with Jewishness and Judaism and Jewish identity. And I loved it. I love being Jewish. But I remember one of my first memories was in preschool. And this isn't a picture from that memory. This is just a picture of me trying to rip a dress off at a very young age. But I remember in preschool sitting in a chair a certain way. And I remember my teacher saying, little girls don't sit that way. Turn your chair around. And it was a public shaming and telling me that little girls don't do this, that I was doing it wrong, right? So every time I tried to do anything, I tried to get it right, I always got it wrong, because turns out I never was a little girl. And so they were trying, the adults in my life were trying to, doing the best they could with what they understood. So it started to cause me to kind of pull from the Dear Evan Hansen theme that we had, which you will be found. Another song from that show is On the Outside Looking In. And so from a really, really young age, feeling like I wasn't part of what was actually happening, I felt really detached. This is just a little silly picture of me with a hair bow that my mom made out of gift wrap, which it always is very silly to show people. But I remember also asking, could I get my hair cut short? Because I wanted a short haircut. And my parents always said to me, no, your hair is so long, so beautiful, so blonde, you have to keep it long. Little girls have long hair. And so I keep having these messages sent to me about how I'm supposed to be. And that was tough because I knew in my heart, in my soul, in my gut, that wasn't who I was. My parents sent me to dance class. So this is me with my jazz hands. I also did ballet and tap. And I was this picture, so when I talk to my parents now about it, they're like, but you look so happy, right? Look how big your smile is. And it's one of those things that I tried to explain to them, that it's not an either or, it was a both and. Yes, I was happy in the moment. I did have fun when I was a kid. And I also was deeply feeling this disconnect between who my community and family thought I was and who I was on the inside. So there were 2 times a year where I actually felt really good about who I was and felt safe in expressing who I was in a public way and not worried about being told little girls don't do this or that. And that was on Purim and on Halloween. So this is a picture of me. I'm so happy this exists. I took my mom's like eyeliner pencil thingy and drew a goatee. And I have a backwards hat and a button-up shirt. And I remember just feeling so in myself and so in my body, being able to express how I was feeling on the inside to the world, and without worry that I was going to be shamed or told that I was doing it wrong. And so, just looking back, wishing that there were more moments in my life, both in my Jewish world and my not Jewish world, where I could have just been myself. And felt that sense of acceptance. But each year as I grew, I kept bottling it up even more, because those feelings of disconnect kept getting stronger as I got older. And as I got older, I started having crushes on girls. And so that was really scary for me, because there were no other out people in my high school or anywhere that I knew of. And so I was really disconnecting from myself. One place that I felt was very fun to be myself was camp, Jewish camp. So this is me, and it was 1995. And I have the arrow over me just in case you couldn't figure out which one I was. But I'm wearing a sideways hat and a baggy shirt and shorts, because again, it was the 90s and that was what was cool. I remember just feeling really free and really supported in being my weirdo self at camp. And so really, really loving that part of my Jewish upbringing, of being able to go to camp and be myself. But there was this constant push and pull of, am I accepted in Judaism or am I not accepted in Judaism? Because at that, I remember back in the day, like there were lots of synagogues that weren't marrying couples of the same gender. And so that was a very explicit signal to me that I wouldn't be welcome in Jewish space. And so it was really confusing for me. So these are pictures that came from my bat mitzvah, which was one of those really tough moments for me because I did not want to become a woman. I didn't want to have that rite of passage. I didn't want that ceremony. If you were to ask me what I wanted, I don't know. Again, because I didn't have the language. I didn't feel myself to be a man or a boy. So I didn't know what kind of words to use. I thought it had to do with the fact that I didn't want to wear a skirt, but that also was part of it. But so I picked these two particular pictures because my papa on the right, he used to take me shopping and I would always shop in the boys section. And he never said, you're in the wrong section. He never said, you can't get that. Little girls don't wear this. He just let me buy whatever I wanted without judgment and without shame. And I really wish I would have realized how special and important that was when he was alive, because it only was recently did I realize that I had that special connection with him. My mom thinks that he knew that I was part of the LGBTQ community. I never came out to him before he passed. And then the picture on the left is my Rabbi Steinberger, who when I knew her was Rabbi Lerner. And she was just a really special rabbi to me and always made me feel so safe. And I had a friend who was hit by a car and I was a mess. I was in like sixth grade or something, or seventh grade. And she called and we said the Misha Berach together over the phone. And that always just stuck with me. And I wonder if rabbis and clergy and leaders in my Jewish spaces would have been vocally accepting of LGBTQ people and talking like how this service is, right? Like it's very clear that you can bring your full self into your space. What my life could have been like if I had that space when I was younger. And Rabbi Steinberger and I are still in touch and still friends, and she is a very out and proud ally, which is incredible to see. So as I keep going older, I'm still trying desperately to stay connected to my Jewish identity and my Jewish community. So I joined BBYO, B'nai B'rith Youth Organization. And this is my friend Neely, who was my advisor. I think she's like 6 years older than me. And instead of connecting with the people my age around me, I was so terrified that I would accidentally say something that would out me to my peers that I didn't even try to make friends. I just hung out with the adults because I felt safer in that way. It turns out that we both are part of the LGBTQ community. We never ever talked about it until far when we were older. But she just reminds me so much of how important it is to have a safe adult in your life to be able to share things with, even if you aren't explicit about what you're talking about, just knowing that someone's there for you. So the next picture is my senior picture. And I chose it because of the quote that I chose for myself, which the first one, which is go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you've imagined by Henry David Thoreau. And I picked that because at this point I'm a senior in high school and I'm really disconnected from myself, from my community. And I basically felt no sense of purpose. I felt no sense of self, no self-acceptance. I didn't see a future for myself. I was so lost, so lost and depressed. And so I like to think that this was like a future Dubs sending a message to high school Dubs of like, keep moving towards your dreams. You're going to figure them out and live the life that you've imagined, even if you don't have the words for it yet. And I just love that about me, for me. So I go all of 15 minutes away to college at Ohio State from where I grew up. And I met my best friend Dolce, who's in this picture. And basically she's the first person I ever came out to when I was 20. And it was because I was so sad and so depressed and kind of had a mean streak to me. She was like, listen, you're kind of miserable to be around. Something's obviously going on with you. you please just tell me. And so I ended up telling her, I actually wrote it on a Post-it because I was too scared to say the words out loud. And so she read the Post-it and she was like, that's it. And then we cried in each other's arms for like 45 minutes. It turns out she also is gay, but didn't tell me in that moment. And that's okay because we all do it in our own time. But so she would go to Hillel events with me. So this was like kind of my last effort of like being part of the Jewish community was Hillel. And so when I came out, I became the president of my Jewish Queers and Allies. And I, did the best that I could, had rainbow seders. And then once I graduated, I felt like I had to choose between my queer identity and my Jewish identity, because there weren't synagogues like this or other synagogues that were affirming and celebratory of LGBTQ people. I just didn't know that that existed. So I was like, well, I can't be queer in a synagogue. And so I just chose my queer identities to focus on instead of my Jewish identity. So for about the next decade, we're going to jump ahead in the story. I had put my Jewish identity on the back burner. And it was the summer of 2014. I went to a pride party in the Lower East Side in New York City. And it was for lesbians, lipstick lesbians, which are more femme presenting lesbians. And I was going as an ally. I never identified that way. And in this party, I was with Dolce, which is why the slide is still up. I had an aha glass shattering moment. And I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this, but I had this moment where I realized not only am I not a lesbian, I'm not a woman. And it all just clicked and it just made sense. My life finally made sense. And so I realized that I needed to change my name. So the name that my parents gave me at birth is not Dubs. That is a name I chose for myself. And I finally realized that I found myself, you will be found, right? Thinking this song that the amazing choir was singing. I finally was there. And so for so long, I feel like there was this lack of self-acceptance because of the stigma that comes with being part of the LGBTQ community, and especially the trans community. I never even allowed myself to think about, am I this identity? Because it was too hard and too scary. And so there was also this blockage for self-acceptance. And so one of the things that I realized that I needed to do was have top surgery. So I did that in 2016. So it's almost my 5-year anniversary. It was over Pride weekend in 2016. And when I woke up from surgery smiling. Dolce was there with me, my same best friend. And I woke up smiling. And when I looked in the mirror, I finally saw myself for the first time. Imagine waiting 32 years to look in the mirror and actually see yourself reflected back. So it was also in this same summer when I realized that I was still missing something from my identity, and it was my Jewish identity. So as I'm putting together the pieces of my life with my gender identity, I still want to find my Jewish identity. So I knew Keshet existed, but they're based in Boston. We're based in Boston, but they posted a job, New York or Boston. So spoiler alert, I got the job. And this is a picture of me on my first day to Keshet from an Amtrak, on an Amtrak from New York to Boston. I can't imagine my face being more excited than this picture. And that's the front door of the office. And so I've dedicated my life and my job and my energy and my time to working with Jewish organizations and institutions on making safe and affirming spaces for LGBTQ people, because I never had that growing up. And I don't want anyone else to feel the way that I felt, that aloneness, that distance between myself and self-acceptance. And so that's why it's an honor to be here and to work with your synagogue and so many synagogues across the country. This is a picture of me just being cheesy at CBST in the city. So part of working with all of these Jewish institutions, I've been able to heal and witness affirming Jewish spaces and meet LGBTQ rabbis and cantors and camp directors and other queer Jews, just my peers, right? That didn't exist. We weren't talking about it. Of course, it has existed forever. We just weren't talking about it. And so I was so proud at the Solidarity March in January of 2020. I don't know if any of you were there. There were thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people at this march. And I was so proud to have a trans and Jewish sign, because I never, if you would have told little Dubs, when you're 36 years old, you're going to be an out and proud trans person, there's no way I would have believed you, because that felt way too big and too hard and too scary. The last picture I'll show you is a still from a documentary that I'm being filmed for, and it's called A Jewish Life. And it is following 3 Jews from all over the country. All of our stories and identities are completely different, but the one thing that connects us is our Judaism, and how we are creating space for ourselves in a world that really only, for the most part, talks about a certain type of Jew. And so we're trying to break the stigma and break the mold of however you are Jewish, you are Jewish. So with that, this is my last slide, which is, think about this road as life. It's long, God willing, it's beautiful, but it's also bumpy. And there's no end point, right? We are all human beings set to evolve and to grow and to learn and to find our self-acceptance within ourselves and from our community. So thank you all so much again for having me and for sharing your Torah and your spirit and your smiles and your affirmations. As I was speaking, I was seeing you all smile and nod, and that was very lovely. So thank you again for having me, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Dubs, thank you for inspiring us with your honesty, your humor, and your insight on this journey for everyone to find acceptance and love. We are grateful to have you as our teacher, our guide, and our friend. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you.
We're going to turn now to other wonderful things. In addition to Dubs being here, and in addition to this beautiful service, we want to hear the simchas in your life. What good things are happening with your world? If something's happening to you or your family in recent days or days ahead, put it in the chat so all of us can learn and see what's going on and share in the strengths. Just a few weeks, we'll be back to sharing these again out loud, which can be even more powerful than just reading it on a scroll of chats. So more people reporting vaccines, and we're so excited to have more and more people vaccinated and celebrating science. Opportunities, sharing people's skills and artistic bent, and welcoming family in person, a most wonderful thing to do. Lots of family connections, which is so wonderful to see after 15 months of never seeing anyone say, I'm seeing my family. Now we see it so often, which is just an amazing, wonderful thing. Birthdays and successful surgeries and more pandemic pets. It's wonderful stuff in the chat. I encourage you to scroll through it and see some really inspiring things that are happening in our community. We're going to turn to the concluding blessings of our service, beginning with the Aleinu, and we invite you to rise in either body or spirit.
עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו Ushmo, Ushmo Echad.
Please be seated. From Sidor Sha'ar Zahav, one of the several amazing LGBTQ prayer books that are in the Jewish community. Oh God, remember today those members of our family who were martyred in years past because of their sexual or gender identity, those who perished in the Holocaust, those who battled HIV/AIDS, and those who struck down in our own time. Remember also those who took their own lives, driven to despair by a world that hated them. And in mercy, remember those who lived lives of loneliness, repressing their true nature and refraining from sharing their love with one another. Oh God, watch over the souls of these beloved ones, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, every person needing our love and memory, and help us to bring an end to hate and oppression of every kind. As we remember names from our temple community, we invite you to fill our chat with names of people you're thinking of, particularly at this time. This week marks the yard site, the anniversary of the passing. Samuel Alexander, Sylvia Aronofsky, Rajel Becker, David Blumberg, Jean Selleck, Annie Cohn, David Lawrence Dietz, Maxwell Epstein, David Garrick, Selma Gelb, Elvira Gellers, Jay Gerstel, Aaron Gilman, Ermin Goldberg, Maurice J. Goldberg, William Golub, Francis Harris, Joseph Harrison, Minnie Jacoby, Toby Jaffe, Sylvia Japin, Anna Kaufman, Andrew Cormendi, Archie Lakin, Bertram Lax, Herbert Lucen, Susan Miller, Julius Noble, Veronica Phillips, Morris Pickman, Irene Raber, Linda Rodman Cohen, Herbert Sackler, Sam Schechter, Eugene Schwalben, Cecilia B. Schwartz, Jules J. Seckler, Dr. Ernest Sos, Norbert Stern, Max Ullman, Max Van Groff, Camilla Weiss, Esther Zlatchin, Reginald D. Zunder. We note in sadness the passing this week of former Temple member Jeanette Golden. And we remember in these recent passings of Helen Pine, aunt of Cheryl and Andy Kimler, Jennifer Alfert, friend of Jenny Byers. We add to these names that fill our chat, each one representing people we love and miss and care for and are part of our lives. We invite you now to rise and join us in our communal prayer of memory. And if you wish to unmute yourself and join with me as I begin the Mourner's Kaddish together. Yitgadal May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to every broken heart among us. And let us say,
Amen.
Amen.
Shalom bimromav uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'immeru amen.
Please be seated. Now with some announcements and words to our congregation, our temple president, Neil Rosenblatt.
Good evening, folks, and Shabbat Shalom. Thanks as always to Rabbi and Cantor, to Faye, Alan, Cheryl, and the entire RTFH tech team for their work behind the scenes that allow us to enjoy our time together every time we are together. Thanks very much to our mood setter this evening, Susan Jollis, for her fabulous harp playing to get us started. And a hearty mazel tov to Damien on becoming a bar mitzvah earlier this week. And we extend the congratulations to his parents, Seiko and Alexis. A few things to put on your collective RTFH radar in the coming days and weeks. There's Torah study tomorrow at 9. Next Friday night at 8, we have our Juneteenth Shabbat, commemorating the day that Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. The following Saturday morning at 10, we have our Young Family Outdoor Shabbat. And just a couple of things to keep in mind. It's never too early to think about Rosh Hashanah. Our Women's Connection is sponsoring a honey sale for a sweet new year. And don't forget to check out the new RTFH Instagram feed. Please check the chat for the link. Information about everything above is, of course, in our weekly e-blast. I'm extremely proud of the work that our Shalom Keshet team did in preparation for tonight's service. Thank you to all of our friends who contributed with readings during the service. And a huge thank you to the heads of the Shalom Keshet team, Lisa Zayas, and one of the first kids who I met when I arrived at Forest Hills High School, Michelle Blayfair. And lastly, a tip of the proverbial cap to the chair of our diversity committee, Ali Robbins. Tonight, we were blessed with a presentation from our friend Dubs Wineland. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. I appreciate the work that you've done for our temple community and your ability to connect with our kids. Both you and our junior choir referenced the song from dear Evan Hansen, and it serves our temple community very well. RTFH is a safe space where you can and you will be found. Earlier this week, I had the opportunity to take part in a pride panel at Forest Hills High School. And much as many of our presenters this evening, I shared 2 quotes, which I'm going to share with you this evening. Many of you who attend services regularly know that I'm prone to using music lyrics when I close out. Tonight, I'm going to shift away from song, but stay in the genre of music with some incredible words from the incomparable John Lennon. The first is a stark reminder about our society. The second, as it turns out, appropriately refers back to Dub's opening piece tonight about self-acceptance. Lennon reminds us, we live in a world where we have to hide to make love while violence is practiced in broad daylight. And I continue. We need to learn to love ourselves first in all our glory and imperfections. If we cannot love ourselves, we cannot fully open to our ability to love others or our potential to create. Evolution and all hopes for a better world rest in the fearlessness and open-hearted vision of people who embrace life and love. Have a great weekend and Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Neil. Just a reminder that our services in June are on Zoom, just like this, for the next 2 weeks. And then in July, we will be moving to having services in person at the synagogue. And we'll have a new live stream format for people who are not able to be at the synagogue to continue to be part of our community remotely. We always turn to our challah at this point. I think this is the first time I've ever had a challah that matched my talis in my life. This challah is courtesy of Phyllis Rosenberg. And so if you have a challah of any color, hold it on up, and we want to share it with everyone to see all the challahs. There's Phyllis's beautiful rainbow challah. We have any others? Yep. There's another rainbow challah, but all challahs are good. We embrace all challahs at the Reform Temple of Forest Hills, gluten-free, not very tasty ones, hard as a rock, poppy seeds. Oh, here we got a special one to show. There we go. That's quite the challah. Well, thank you all for the challahs. We join together in our motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Motzi lechem min haaretz. B'tei avon. Dive it. Shane, dive into that challah. It looks to be almost as big as you, so go for it. I want to not only thank our Shalom Keshet team, which did such a tremendous job forming this year and taking charge of our Pride Shabbat, but thank our congregation. It is not every congregation where the community is a community of allies and embracing all of us. We talk about all the time about our congregation of diversity, but that requires everyone being supportive of each other for all of who we are. And that's one of the blessings of the Reformed Temple of Forest Hills. We come in many different shapes and sizes, but we love each other, accept each other, and support each other all along the journey. And we look forward to keep doing that every week and every day. And for our closing song, Cantor, tell us all about it.
So our closing song is True Colors, and please join with me. You with the sad eyes, don't be discouraged till you realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness there inside you makes you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining through, see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show. True colors, beautiful like a rainbow. Show me your smile and don't be unhappy. Can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If the world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, you can call me up because you know that I'll be there. And I see your true colors shining through, see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show. True colors are beautiful like a rainbow.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat
everyone.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Everybody love you. Shabbat Shalom.
Happy Pride, everybody.
Happy Pride.
Happy
Happy
Pride.
Pride, Scotty.
So yummy, holla.
Is it good? I've never had multicolored chocolate.
Everybody ate challah.
Ready?
Yeah.
See you tomorrow morning, Torah study.
See you at Torah
See you
study,
tomorrow
Jody.
at Torah study.
Bye-bye.
Jody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Good
Bye.
night. Nice sleep.
Good night.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Enjoy
Everybody,
your
hello.
Julie and
So good to
Danny.
have you here.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, Marjorie. Can you hug Marjorie?